Okay, something else I'd like to show you, which is called render in place, which will be very important as we move forward. So here, if we look at these bottom two files, let's just make them big. This is an audio file I have, and I've put a plugin on it. So, doing a crazy thing. And then here, I just have a MIDI file with using Trillion, which is part of the kind of Omnisphere collection in a sense, both made by Spectrasonics. So I've got this, so there's my Genius. So what would work best moving forward is to render this. So say, gosh, I really like this, but I know he doesn't have this plugin, or he doesn't have this sound. So what I can do is render it. Now, you need to make sure you can render a clip if I have it selected, but I'm going to do a track render. So you've got to make sure a clip is not selected and just the tracks. So you can go in here. I have a hotkey for this, so I have to find it on this. Great. Let's see, audio. It's got to be audio. Project. See, I have a hotkey for this that I just hit. Alright, well, this is boring. Gosh, I know it's in these first ones. Like I said, I have this selected to a hotkey. I have to hit the hotkey. Oh, here it is, render in place. So it's under edit, render in place. Now there's two things. You can, if you have it already set up the way you want it, you can just hit render settings. I'm sorry, render with current settings. Or if you need to adjust them, you hit render settings. So I'm going to hit that. Now what this is going to give me the option to do is if there's separate clips on this, that's what separate events means. This, I could say, I just want this would be without the plugins or anything on there. This would be with the plugins on the track, and this would have to do with the signal path all the way to a final mix bus if there is one. This gives you a little tail, which I have. You can bounce them together. If you do, you have to give them a custom name, or I can give these a custom name. And then you can hide the source and disable it. So if it's a MIDI track or audio track, you can disable the original. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to disable the original, but I'm not going to hide it this time around, so you can see what's going on. Now it's going to render it. So this also helps with processing power, because now this has the sound on it. You know, that wacky thing, but it's processed, so it's not using like this one had. Now this is deactivated, but it did have a plugin on it, but this doesn't have a plugin. Now this is nice because if I don't have something you have, or I'm going to replace it anyway, this gives me the MIDI, and then it gives me what you used on it, so I can kind of hear the piece with just audio files, but then I have the MIDI right next to it. Of course, these can be hidden, which is in the visibility thing, and you go here, and that just means that they're not in the session to look at. So that's a good way to render, and also I always do this to set up for mix as well. So if I have to go back and maybe there's maybe I have a different version of an instrument, or I don't have that plugin anymore, I have a different version of that plugin, I can Or I can just send it to somebody that can open it, and they don't have to have any of the plugins because they're just dealing with audio files. So a good way to go. And again, a good way for me, because I'll have maybe your bass part, but then I'll have the MIDI, and so I can listen to it with your stuff, but then I can easily replace it. So render in place is a good way to go. Thank you very much.